This is the Roller Coaster Podcast, and I'm your host, Lucy Q. Life is a wild ride. It has twists and turns. It's scary, exciting, and downright fun. So throw your head back, arms in the air, and come along with me for the ride.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride.
Do you hear that whisper? That little voice that tugs at your heart, telling you to start living your best life. If that sounds like you, then now is the time to join Inner Growth. It's the only place online where you can connect with and learn from great coaches with different areas of expertise. Why live another day not believing that you're enough, not seeing all that is possible for you? Why live another day dimming your own light? Nectar is the perfect place for you to discover the real you and uncover who you're meant to be. Life is a journey that we are not meant to walk alone. Nectar gives you a nurturing and supportive community to walk with you on your journey. Start living your best life and see what is truly possible. Come join us at nectargrowth.com. You know you're worth it.
Ride.
For whatever reason, life has brought you in a new direction. It wasn't what you thought your life would be, yet here you are. But where do you start? How do you align yourself with a new path? Joining me today is Gary Austin, coach, author, and podcaster, to share how you can be empowered and find your way to an abundant life. Welcome to the roller coaster, Gary.
Well, hello, Lucy. Thank you for having me.
So tell me, where does your story begin in exploring how to restart when life has thrown you a loop?
Oh boy. Well, it actually happened before the pandemic, so I'll go back there. So, I'm an older man. I'm 58 years old, and I married a lady who was just around my age, about 4 years younger than I was. But we decided we weren't going to have kids. And what happened was we had a little child. Like, whoops. So here I am, this older man starting with a new life. And, being a divorced parent from a previous marriage, I was like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this, but I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to give all what I can to my child and make sure that he has his abundant life in front of him. And as time went on, found out that the partner I was with was not my perfect partner for my future. And I struggled through that, tried to keep the marriage together because of my son, because I committed to him that I wasn't going to break up this marriage, and fought to try to keep it together. And so the divorce happened. Tears, heartbreak, all that stuff. But I knew it was the right thing. And I knew I had to move on. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And at the time, I was taking yoga teacher training. And I was going through that experience, kind of just, if there's people out there, they know what yoga teacher training is about. It's not just about teaching asanas and all that stuff. It's also about digging deep into your psyche, journaling, meditation, all that stuff. And I'm like, wow, I want to help people. This is where I need to go. So I went on this path of using my yoga practice to try to help people out, and went through that. And through the divorce, I had to sell, properties and stuff like that. And didn't have a job at the time. And I'm like, I'm going to open up a yoga studio. So I opened up my yoga studio, family-based. I taught family yoga and kids yoga. And family yoga is a parent and child bonding together. And I took my son there a lot. He was my little coachy there. 6 months to the day, I was told to shut down because of the pandemic.
Oh,
And talk about I'm going through a divorce, losing my studio. I shut it down in July 2020, and I started to try to, I knew that I had this vision. I had to help people somehow or another. And I went on and started reaching out across the country to fitness instructors to try to help them bridge all their studios, all their gyms being closed so they can make money. So I provided this online platform for them so they can make money. And I went through that. Meanwhile, my finances are dwindling. I was still lost in my purpose. And at the end of that, how things just turned and kept going forward. It was like, I'm going to write a book. and as I'm writing this book, I had friends of mine who were coaches, and I'm like, that's what I need to do. I need to coach people. That's how I can be in this business, to try to help people. And through that pandemic and through all those trials and tribulations, I never gave up. I kept thinking the beginning was in front of me. This was just a road bump, and I would get through it. And I meditated and I prayed, and I looked for the universe for guidance, and I kept getting these signs here and there. This is, every time I came up with an inspiration, this is what you need to do, like a falling star. I mean, God, I'm 50 some odd years old. I saw a falling star. I'm like, when's the last time I saw that as a kid? So as I went through, I got trained as a coach, and I got hired to train coaches from the platform that I got trained from. So now I'm training coaches, but I started helping people that have gone through that experience of thinking that they were on this path, and all of a sudden their world just got totally twisted off. Their journey was, what they thought was this way, is totally miles away in front of them on a hard right turn. So I found out that I could connect with those people because I would live through it, and I was a part of that. And so I started trying to help people by these podcasts to try to inspire them to the things that I was challenged by as a child and challenged by as an adult, and just the loss that I had, all the losses and all the stuff that really got me to this point. And I feel blessed for being here. The present moment is where I need to be, and I need to help. And the path to an abundant life is first being internally abundant.
what do you mean by that?
Having all the tools to create that life. And the tools are my last podcast, Gremlins, is turning the gremlin off in your mind, is turning that critic that's in your mind off. When you look in the mirror's reflecting a vision that sometimes you don't see. And you tell yourself you're not worthy of these things, you're not enough. I have had those voices,
I think a lot of people have, though.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't you found that?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've come across anyone that at some point in time haven't questioned their own worth.
Yeah, totally.
And you got to wonder what's wrong in society.
Yeah.
That we have to question something as basic as our own self-worth.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And, we could get into societal, stigmas of, I call it the antisocial network. It's really, it's social, but it portrays images. Back in the old days, my day, they would put commercials on the TV or in magazines and have these beautiful people, and that's who you're supposed to be, and you're supposed to have this perfect life with the picket fence and the white White
It's
House.
the checklist. It's what I refer to as that checklist, that somebody created this checklist for success. And so many of us have just been falling through life, checking off these boxes. And at different points in time, something makes us wake up and we realize, wait a second, if I've done all of these things, then why aren't I happy?
Exactly. Where the disconnect is that they're seeking an image in their minds that were created not by them. And being a coach, the biggest teacher is the person that you're coaching. When you're coaching a person, their empowerment, they're the ones that have the answers, and getting that out of them is the key to coaching. And so how do you get that out of them is just by letting them explore themselves. Like, who put this image in your head? And maybe parents did at an early age, maybe our friends did, but we take on that coat. We wear the coat because that's all we know. We're a kid, that's all we know through trials and tribulations of our lives. It's like, well, this failed, so I'm not going to do that again. But maybe it was the other side that failed you. Maybe it wasn't you that failed. Maybe it was your perspective of what you thought was supposed to happen that brought you to that point. And I hope I'm not rambling on here, but
No.
but those images are so entrenched in us, and I know most of my internal my influencers, which were my parents, and my immediate family, my sister and my stepbrothers, created this, you're supposed to do this. And so for the longest of time, that's what I thought. And it took the jolt of kind of trauma to go, wait a second. Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to be in their image? Why can't I be in my image? And going back to the societal thing, now we have like the antisocial, I call it, the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the TikTok. It just replicates itself. People are trying to be that image.
They're trying to fit into a mold.
Yeah.
Instead of, and you know what? I'll be honest. I did that for years. I did that for years in my family, where I kept trying to live up to their expectation of who I should be. I didn't know any better. And, sure, hindsight's 2020. And when I look back, I can see that was the source of my depression, my pain, my disconnect with my true self. But it's not easy once you discover who you are to then share that person, because everybody knows the person you were trying to be.
Correct.
You were checking the boxes, you fit. Everybody knew how to take you. But the minute that you step into your own self and, you find the courage to say, hey, this is who I am, things can go a little bit wonky.
It's lonely.
It can be.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to also accept that, when you do find out who you are, the people around you may not be supportive of you anymore. Sure. But that's okay, because there's another whole circle of people just waiting to meet you.
I love you for saying that. Because
it's actually something this episode is coming out later on. It's actually coming out in a few weeks, the one that we're recording now. But today I recorded one that's being released, and it was talking about this very thing that I experienced in my family. And I finally found the courage to show up as myself, and I got rejected.
Yeah.
I got told, no, I don't like who you're saying you are. I'll have a relationship with, I want to have a relationship with who I think you should be. And I said, no, that's not who I am. That's not who I can be anymore.
Bravo.
It hurts.
Yeah.
But I was also able to find purpose in it
Mm-hmm.
because I'd done all the hard work. Those tools that you spoke about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
those are what helped me come through the process. Yeah, sure, there's still emotional trauma there.
Mm-hmm.
I might not be fine now, but I will be. I'll be just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, the self-love, the self-worth, the self that you are enough are going to keep you going there. And then when you shine, you'll radiate, and the people that connect best with you will come through the world and seek you out. I believe in that wholeheartedly. I believe in that.
Absolutely.
100%.
So what are some of the steps that, I mean, I always find, I joke, I find my own long and winding path to get to anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I take the really long route. So how
It's a
do
scenic
you,
route.
oh, it's scenic, all right. How do you coach people to empower themselves and lead their way to that abundant life?
Well, once again, I let them explore their answers. And how we do that is just, we pick a topic, and sometimes something will be triggered. And I was coaching a client the other day, and money got brought up just out of the blue, and it was random. I said, well, how's your relationship with money? And the person started crying. I could tell that it was touched on an issue that they never thought of. And just let them go to that place and experience that, and then understand, the roots of that comes out through their explanation of it. It's like, well, to be worthy, I have to make such a money, and it always goes back to that. It always goes back to worth. It always goes back to the imprinting. It just goes back to those stages, and to move through it is have to recognize it. You got to shine a light on it, and then see if it's a false value or it's a real value. And the false values are values that we were taught. And like I go back, I regress a little bit, the parents, I don't blame the parents, because the parents are trying to protect the child. I don't blame my family for teaching me what they were. That's what they knew. But the person has to experience their own life, and that when the switch gets thrown on, that life is not what it's supposed to be. The spotlight comes on it, then it is trauma. It's trauma because that's all you've known. That's what you've known for X amount of years, is this person that I had to be. And it's questioning those things. I always put in most of my podcasts and my blogs and stuff, it's like, you have to question it. It's not questioning what's going good in your life. It's questioning what's holding you back. Why am I getting held back by this? And what I try to do is free them of that. Where did that come from? Where did you see it coming from? And that roadblock is something that you can get through. It's not a roadblock that's going to stop you in your journey. It's just a roadblock that's something you're going to get through. Life might always change. Like you said, is like, now I'm not with that person I thought I was going to be with. And that's where we go to this, trying to help people with their new beginnings, because it is a new beginning. When we put the light on and see that we're not on the path that we're supposed to be on, because that's the path we were told, but this is the path we feel like we need to go toward. It's a new beginning. You're a child again. You have to explore the imagination. You have to explore your playfulness. You have to, I mean, I'm all about playful. You got to explore your playfulness, your imagination. You just got to open up those untapped things in the brain that let you explore life. And once you see it, you're like, oh my God, these are the things that make me happy. And that's it. It's that simple. These are the things that make me happy. These are the ones I need to embrace, and that abundant life is filling yourself, having your abundance full in yourself, and then you share it. And when you start to share it, your light shines and people come toward you. And I know it sounds like a whole bunch of malarkey and all that stuff. I know I don't cuss stuff. So, but it's true. It's true. The universe has a plan for you to live an abundant life, and you are holding yourself back from it.
I almost want to say that we don't realize that we need to give ourselves permission to live the life that we want. Mm-hmm. I mean, we shouldn't even have to give ourselves permission. Yeah. But when you find yourself that you've been checking the boxes and you're not happy, then that's the point where you have to go, wait a second. No, I'm giving myself permission to ...
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Permission is love for yourself. Permission is saying you're enough.
And saying yes to yourself and saying no to other people.
Exactly.
And that's when some people will perceive that as being selfish. And those are the people that don't get it and aren't in the same place as you. And there's nothing you can do to change their mind. Let them think what they think. As I always say, we have 2 adult sons, and I always say to them, I just lost my train of thought again.
That's okay.
It happens when you're a 48-year-old woman. All of a sudden, your mind just flips out on you. You gotta love the hormones.
It's a beautiful mind.
You gotta love the hormones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost it. That's okay. We'll keep going.
Well, just to go back to that is the blocker that the gremlin puts up, is that selfish. Oh, you're being selfish.
Yes.
You shouldn't do this for yourself. You shouldn't go on a vacation on a weekend by yourself. You shouldn't. It's going to cost money. Your responsibilities are going to it's that critic inside of you that was implanted in you a long time ago that tells you that's selfishness. Yeah. Not selfish. Selfish is the ego trying to tell you what's wrong and what's right, and the ego is not where, that's not a rational thinking. It's okay to take care of yourself and give yourself. You have one life, you have one body, one shell of that holds your being. That's it. You take care of that, you take care of your life, and you'll attract it. Attractions attract attractions. Positives get positives. It's not a negative positive force out there. It's the negatives we bring in because of where we came from.
Yeah. Well, it's those stories that we tell ourselves.
Exactly.
And self-care and self-love are the best gifts that we can give ourselves. And while some people are going to say that it's selfish, if you're not, I say that if you're not pouring from a full cup, then what are you giving?
Exactly.
You're taking away anything that you have for yourself.
Yeah.
And totally. that leads to trouble.
Yeah. Totally.
Without fail. Every time.
Yeah. And people get, just like by saying abundance, people think, oh, abundance. Well, that means I have an excess, and that's not a good thing because excess is greed. It's not. If your cup is full internally, then you can share your abundance with the world. You can share with charity. You can share with giving your space. You can share with things. We are living in a society. You have to do that. That just comes naturally. but you got to be full first. You can't give until you're full. And that's what I try to impress on my clients, is that you can't give to your world. You can't give to your children a beautiful life unless you're beautiful inside.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Doesn't work.
It
They're
doesn't.
going to see, they're perceptive, and they're going to see that mom and dad ain't right. So
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And it's, it's one thing that I try to share through this podcast is, the need for you to love yourself, the need that you have to show up authentically and speak your truth. What else do you have?
Little peanut.
Yeah, a whole lot of unhappiness, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Gary, as we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts, any words of wisdom that you want to share with our listeners?
Well, going back to the self-love and the self-care, it's imperative going through your life to be you. If you don't know who you are yet, just take some time, find out who you are, journal, meditate, walks in nature, whatever gives you peace enough to find out who you are, and then go with it. Don't let anything or anybody tell you that you're not you. And that is the key. That's key. Throughout my whole life, I was told, stop it, don't do this, don't do that. But I enjoy doing that. I think I'm a funny person. I want to be funny, but just be you.
Just be you.
That's it. That's like the littlest thing you can ever say, but it's a lot. I would say at least 50 to 80% of the people don't know who they are.
Yeah,
So.
Absolutely. And Gary, where is the best place that people can connect with you and listen to your podcast?
Oh, sure. Well, my podcast is pretty much everywhere. It's on Spotify and anywhere that you can Google a podcast. It's Find Your Way by Gary Austin. And I just take a one-word topic and I go through it, and I give like 3 tools usually to combat that topic. Like today was gremlins, or I actually got posted today, gremlins, talking about the inner critic. And, basically affirmation, giving yourself affirmations, understanding the negative tones when it comes into your brain and thought process. And a lot of what I do is just question things that don't seem right in your brain. That does not seem right. Question it. Where did it come from? I get back on another tangent, so I'm gonna get off that. But the other point is, you can look me up at Gary Austin Coaching on my website, where there's a blog. And also, if you need to reach out to me for anything, it's hello@GaryAustinCoaching.com. So I'm always there to answer questions and help in any way. I'm that guy. I'm a giver. So.
If you're looking at connecting with Gary, make sure you check out the show notes. I'm going to have all of the links in there. And Gary, thank you so much for joining me today.
Lucy,
sharing your
you're
story.
Beautiful. Yeah, well, you're beautiful. Thank you. And keep doing what you're doing. I love it. So thank you, Lucy.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Roller Coaster Podcast. Want to chat or share your ideas about today's show? Pop me an email at hello@therollercoasterpodcast.com. Don't forget to connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at The Roller Coaster Podcast. Our theme song, Roller Coaster, was performed by The Lucky Setback. Audio editing by the one and only Jeff Quigley of Quigley Creative.
Life is like a roller coaster, baby, baby. I wanna ride, 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 ride. Life is like a roller coaster,